This is Jeff P. It is March 28, 2020. On October 31st, 2018, I captured this in the western skies of Germany, which this photo has been deleted from the archives of the web camera where I captured it, and I will show you that. What I want to show you is this emerging shape of this. Let me blow it up for anybody who... In this one, you can actually see the redness of the red planet with its large plasma-like cloud teardrop shape that follows behind it. Then on March 6th, I captured this in Reno, Nevada, in the noonday sun. I'll play a small clip. This lasted in front of the sun for 2.5 hours, maybe a little more. We see the similar teardrop-like shape behind it, right in front of the sun. And we even see a large round shadow in front of it. I propose to you that is a planetary shadow being cast on the chemtrails in front of the eclipsing sun. So let's look at some more proof of this. Now, on that same camera, what captured my attention, I've been watching it like a hawk every day since to try and capture the same thing. Let's go forward in time and let's see what we see next. This occurred on the 25th of March. So let's keep your eyes on the strange dark shadow which moves across and doesn't track with the clouds. This is 4:30 or 1640. Going forward in time. Nothing to see here, folks. Until the sun starts to set. And now what emerges is, look at this. Let's just go back one frame. We see this strange darkness in the clouds. If some of you look at these clouds, how could these thin clouds look so dark? Well, every time that a shadow or a cloud or a chemtrail or whatever catches in front of the shadow of this, it captures that image. Now to see what happens next. This is 1820. Things are going to get very interesting. This cloud gets darker, but only the part of the cloud that is in that shape. Look what happens. As they try to hide this eclipsing planet, the shadow is very difficult to hide. And things are just going to get more interesting as the time elapses. And isn't that strange that this approaching planetary object, its shadow that it casts is getting larger and remains in the sky. Here at 1920, it is cut quite huge and still remains dark in the clouds. I'm going to blow this up in a minute, but let's just keep going forward because it just stays there, right? And I actually captured this. Still, it only got bigger until it finally, you could see what remains in the upper right of this shadowed object. And the next film, I believe we start to see stars again that emerge. So apparently this even blocks out the stars. Let's go back and look at more of this. Like I said, that first image has now been deleted. I asked you to look at it. You can see the timestamp. Here it is, the 2018, July 24th. Anything past that has been erased. What else has been erased? Well, I started looking at our cameras to see what they did from the western skies at the same time, the 25th of March. What were they hiding? Why was it deleted? March 25th at 4 a.m., the very next frame, it jumps all the way forward to 1940. It's dark. It would have been a pretty epic shot. Here on the 22nd, just to show you how this works, we have this similar shadow object with the sun simulator shining right through the eclipse to keep something shining like the sun while the real one is being eclipsed. Let's look at the next. I'll go back. The next frame, we can see the the sun transitioning through the planetary object, or not through it, because it's in a lower orbit. I'll explain. You just go back and watch my sun simulator videos. That's why we have a sun simulator, folks. So here the sun is setting. We have is being eclipsed. We have the chemtrail clouds. We have the planetary shadow cast in front, down on the chemtrails, showing the rough size of the diameter of the planet. It's probably a little quite smaller than that. I mean, it's all about perspective and how close this thing is. Here we see the shadow on the left side, and the sun simulator is barely peering through. Again, if that was the real sun, why did it just shrink so much? Why does it look more like a flashlight in the sky? Well, that's because it basically is. And let's go through some let's go through the archives that I captured from the German hotel on the 25th. Frame by frame. This is going to be zoomed in. See if I can zoom this in just a little more. I don't think I'll leave it like that. Okay. Once again, we see where my cursor is in the upper right. This is the shadow. And whenever the clouds pass through this, let me show you a little diagram of how that works. So here's our sun. This is the earth. And whenever the clouds pass through the darkness of this shadowy object, it also becomes dark. If it is the entire eclipsing shadow is inside it, we'll see the entirety of the shadow. Otherwise, we see bits and pieces of it become dark, depending on the size of the shadow at the time, which could depend upon the distance it is from the earth. Sometimes the shadow doesn't even hit the earth. It's off to the side, and the shadows could be a little different. So let's go back to these pictures here. And let's look at this in progress. So here we have the shadow here. And as we go forward in time, we can see the clouds get strangely dark in 1 minute and light the next. Where's the darkness coming from? How could these chemtrail clouds, are very thin, be so dark? 1 minute and light the next. Look how we still see the roundness of the shape. In fact, in their efforts to hide it, it kind of makes it more obvious. And soon all will see. And now, hours later, it's only gotten bigger and the sky remains the same. Why hasn't this blown on? Do you see what I'm talking about? I don't see how you get a whole lot more compelling than that. And on April 3rd or 4th, on the 20-day cycle, I think we're going to see this. Look at that. Can I blow this up, folks? Can I make it any more plainer? That is a planetary shadow. This is why we need a sun simulator, to keep a light shining like the sun. Well, the real one is being eclipsed. It doesn't produce much heat, only at its focal point from its lens that's in front of it. Huh. Wow. The real sun is still kicking off some heat, even though we are going through a solar minimum. But the Earth is heating up because the magnetic fields. So there's a lot of confusion about climate change, right? The sun is diminishing, but it is the Earth is heating from the inside out because the fluctuating magnetic fields going through the Earth's core is heating us up from the inside out. Wow. Look at that. Is that wild? Wow. So, yeah, I think that is crazy. Where have we seen that before? Well, we've seen that over the North Pole, haven't we? We have, let's see, South Pole shadow. Here's a quick little, same thing. And this was captured in 2018, also captured in October. Interesting, isn't it? October 3rd. Now we're approaching April 3rd, so keep your eye out for that. That was also in October. So I believe watching out for this Neumayer station up there in the South Pole. And let's look at some other cameras. Let's see, we had some from Italy. This is from the same day. This was from March. I will leave links to these cameras. You can go back and watch them. Please check it out before they get wiped out. They probably will. So let's go forward in time. This is the western facing sky over Italy. Here we see it emerging here. Some clouds catch within the circular shadow being cast upon the earth. And what emerges is just looking more obvious. In fact, I think this is going to be the 3 days of darkness when this thing fully eclipses us. Look at that. Look at that. It's round. And look how they're covering up. They want to hide this roundness is what they want to hide. But it's just getting more and more difficult. Continue on. We could see what remains of the shadow here and the lens array, which is another topic. Go back and watch. Look at that. I think that is quite compelling yet from Italy. So that's a few cameras that we see already. And for the deleted frames that we saw, again, we saw that they erased it from 4 o'clock all the way to 9:40, erased the frames. Yep. And here is that camera we showed you, the snapshots of the same thing. I'll leave links for all this in the description box. Here is yet another one. I believe this is over Germany. We see something very similar. When a large shadowy object catches within the penumbra of the planet. Hope I pronounced that right. When it catches the entirety of it. Now, the only reason we don't see the whole thing because we don't have clouds over here. I think it would, is fact. I wonder, they just like, should we spray this and try and hide the planet? Or should we, because if we spray the entire circle, then it's going to look pretty obvious. So now we got to throw a sun in front of it, distract your eye, so it kind of doesn't look like you think it is, because that's exactly what it is. We have a huge lighting. Look at that next frame. So I went from the most compelling to the least compelling, but deep note, this is at the same day. What happened there? Feel free to go back and check these out for yourself. And you saw this one, the sun passing through it. The sun simulator. Look how it changes diameter. That would be impossible. Literally during the eclipse, the sun has been diminished. At this point in time, if you were there, you would notice the absence of heat. And if you're in the focal point of the lens, and the lens in front of the sun simulator, burning you like an ant, like a microscope, a magnifying glass. So I believe the sky's dark because that is the actual shadow of the planet in that instance. Here we had a few others where we see the setting sun simulator on the same day. We go forward in time. We see a round like shadow casting up, I believe. Not as compelling as the other photos that we saw. And here I think is this one's quite compelling. So this was March 21st, a little different. Again, it's nowhere near the sun. You can't even call this a halo. It's just kind of a big round cloud right there, right? And it's on the 21st. And I thought this was a little compelling. It's not really actually. It is kind of similar, same day. Let's just go back and check the timestamp real quick and see if there's anything. I think I saved it here for a minute. So that's when you do an edit. Try and catch this. Yeah, nothing to see here, folks. Go back and check it out. Again, it's been tracking with the sun. You can usually catch it in the western skies. So as the sun sets on April 3rd and 4th, get out your cameras. And one thing I want to also make notice of is when this thing comes over, just a tip that when this thing passes through, I want you to notice, keep your eye focused on the speed of the shadow. Is it tracking with the actual cloud that's passing quickly above it. Is it moving with the cloud, or does it kind of stay with it, like staying more fixed in space as the cloud underneath passes over? What do I mean? Let's see if I can bring this up again. So this is what I mean. If we have time-lapse camera and we're watching this dark spot and the clouds are passing overhead, is that shadow just stay there no matter how fast the clouds are passing by? Because it certainly seems like it. I think that would be the most compelling evidence yet. And look at this strange cloud over Italy later that day. It looks like one big circular cloud, and they just bring in, it looks like the rain's coming, but it never rains either, right? Don't you find that just a little odd too? Just how dark these clouds can get and still never bring any rain. Because maybe the darkness of the cloud is because of the shadow and not because it's about to rain with a heavy laden water thick cloud, a thunderhead or something like that, right? So I hope you like this video. Please copy, like, and share. Have a blessed day.